In this section, I'm going to be talking to you about adding effects to your Cubase project. And there's two different types of effects, and where you use them in the mix console is going to depend greatly upon what the effect is going to be doing to the sound of the track or the channel. For example, is it going to be adjusting the volume in some way, or is it going to be adding some sort of special effect like a reverb or a delay? So let's talk about the two different places where you can add effects. And let's go into our keyboard channel right here. So I'm going to hit the Edit Channel Settings button on that group channel to bring up those channel settings, because in this window it's going to be a little bit easier for me to describe the difference between these two different places where you can put effects. The first place to put effects is in the inserts. You'll notice that over here from top to bottom we have 8 individual inserts. Now, inserts are very, very similar to connecting guitar effect pedals. In other words, whatever goes in the first slot is then going to be applied to the second slot and the third slot and so forth. Just like putting a distortion in front of the delay pedal on a guitar system would put the distortion output into the input of the delay pedal. So because of that in to out signal flow of the inserts from top to bottom, this is where you apply effects and plugins that affect the volume of the channel. In other words, things like compressors or noise gates or so forth, you would apply those types of effects to the inserts. And we're going to apply a compressor on an insert of this electric piano group, but I do want to mention the channel strip very quickly because it also has a whole bunch of insert style effects. It has a gate, compressor, transient envelope, saturation effects, and limiting effects, but I'm going to be showing you how to apply those effects to the inserts, and then quickly take a look over here because we're looking at these send slots as well. These are similar to the insert slots, but these actually work with FX channel tracks, and I'm going to show those to you in the next tutorial. So for right now, let's bounce back over to the insert slots. Let's click on that first insert slot, and it's going to reveal this little window where you can see all of the VST plugins that you have installed on your computer. Now you'll notice that you could insert a delay or any of these other sorts of effects, but things like delay and reverb are better used in the FX channel sends. So I'm going to bypass those for right now and go into the dynamics category and then scroll to the bottom because I want to use this tube compressor. So I'm going to single click on that. You'll notice that it loaded that tube compressor plugin into the first insert slot, and then it revealed the control panel. If you ever wanted to get the control panel back, like if you closed it, you can get the control panel again simply by double clicking on the insert right here. Now we're looking at the control panel of this tube compressor, and let's go ahead and load one of the Alan Morgan presets in here. So I'm going to click on this presets window, and it's going to open up a little browser for all of the different tube compressor presets. And so let's just type in piano, because this is a piano track. It's an electric piano track. But okay, so we end up with just one preset. So let's double click on that. That's going to apply those settings to this compressor. Now I'm going to come over to the channel itself. This is the group channel with both of those tracks plugged into it. So I'm going to solo this group, and let's take a listen to the settings of that tube compressor. So I'm going to double click that again to get it back. Let's take a listen. Now, if you wanted to hear this before and after, you can click this little bypass button so you can hear it before and after. See, the compressor is not working really hard right now. What it's doing is it's just kind of smoothing out the dynamic range of that piano, and it's making a creamier, less dynamic version of it. So I like that setting, but since this is a tube compressor, let's go ahead and ramp up some of the tube. There, that sounds nice. So if the plugin or effect that you want to add to a channel or track of your Cubase project affects the volume in some way, then you will want to use the insert slots to apply those types of effects. And I quickly want to mention that the first 6 slots are pre-fader. So the first 6 slots are very, very much like those guitar effect pedals, but you should be aware that inserts 7 and 8 are post-fader. They actually come after the fader of the group channel or the mix console channel, and those are best reserved for things like dither plugins and limiting plugins. So when you're applying effects, remember that the first 6 come before the fader, the last 2 come after the fader. So now that you know about insert effects, let's move on to FX channel tracks.